Hello and welcome to another episode of InRetrospect. We are on Ceres with a glass colony. Glass starts at half price though, so don't need to worry too much about it. Sorry about the car noise in the background. That might be happening a couple times. We have basic 4, so expansive, robotic, scav, scientist. The spots on this map aren't that great. The iron is kind of cramped in various places. There's some iron here. There's little bits here and there. A bunch of silicon and water, but there are no nomads, unfortunately. This map has a lot of silicon, as you can see. This is all salt down here, so it's not dry ice. Dry ice is all up here. Well, what little of it. Sorry, not dry ice. This is normal ice. But the rest of this is all salt. So, there's all this iron down here, but you can't really reasonably fit an HQ in there. There's some iron up here, but again, you can't really fit an HQ up there. So, let's go through this reverse auction real quickly. Oh yeah, we're playing against NcGameWizard, Mr. X, and Copper. I recognize both NC and Mr. X. Copper I don't recognize at all. I found first, and I found over here. I think this is the better spot. One of the best spots because of... Okay, sorry. I'm gonna fix this. Sorry about that. Normally my windows aren't open at this point, so... Okay, so we found here we go for uranium because uranium is high, and then we go for double steel, which I can go for because iron isn't quite high enough yet, and I imagine I can get to HQ2 before I need
A scavenger HQ
iron.
has been robotics HQ has been upgraded.
Mr. X goes for found over here with this single iron. It'll be a bit tough later, I imagine, but it'll work for now. And NcGameWizard goes for a very interesting spot over here by the silicon using these low carbon. I think... Yes, he did found last, so there is that. However, I don't know why you wouldn't just found over here on right next to the crater so you ship less. In terms of HQ space, you get the same, because if anything you get a tiny bit more with these two tiles. And it's not, I guess, I don't know what's under. He did crush some silicon, so there was the silicon somewhere under there. But silicon isn't a very limited resource on this map. So I feel like founding closer to the crater so you don't have to ship the carbon as much would have been better for NC. Copper founds over here in this crater. I had seen this crater spot, but the problem I had with it was the fact that you don't have anything else nearby. The water is the closest, which is way out here. Aluminum, I think your closest to aluminum is that tile. Maybe I can't zoom out anymore because I have UA Plus disabled right now because I was doing lobby matches. Yeah. This aluminum or that aluminum are your closest aluminums from this spot, which in my mind made it worse than the expansive spot. You do have plenty of carbon though. So let's get through HQ1 real quickly about my aluminum. I go for iron. I think I go for iron, water, steel. So I grab one of my low water tiles. Oh no, I grab aluminum, that's right, because aluminum is more scarce on this map, so I do go for aluminum. I do also go for another iron tile. The black market, power surges, the big thing. Pirates are also there, kind of annoying. Dynamites. There's not much to attack Offworlds, but Offworlds don't come into play this game. I buy up my glass, get the next HQ. Be fairly quick. I freeze out Mr. X. He was the one
New land is available for option.
Who had the most cash at the time. So I decided to power search him, and again I'm going to change the audio. I feel like that got set back to that level. I'd have to look at the video yesterday.
Pirates.
My yesterday.
I hate those filthy bandits.
Yeah, my aluminum gets pirated, which is annoying. Because aluminum does get quite expensive here in the mid-game. The silicon tile is actually an entertainment or launch tile, one of the two. I'm not selling my uranium because I figure the price will go back up. I don't upgrade immediately because I think my thought at the time was I'll just kind of wait till I get some resources, because sure I can upgrade and my life support goes up, but I can't necessarily build anything. That's something I've been trying to think about more often. Go for 2 electrolysis reactors, and then I want to go for 2 nuclear reactors. I should have built these slightly differently, I think, because the reason I built them here is so that way no one can steal my water, was my idea. But it also prevents me from accessing my own water until I want to scrap out of the nuclear plants. So it's kind of hit or miss, I think, in terms of building there. I did buy the 2K goon, and I buy the 4.5K goon up both my nuclear reactors. Mr. X has 1 nuke and a solar panel. Copper doesn't have anything, and NcGameWizard doesn't have anything. Copper did go for early teleportation, so that's how he's going to solve his problem, which is a good idea. I don't know why I spied. Well, I guess at this point he hasn't built a second nuke. He does build one here shortly. Yeah, I spy all of this out. All of the nukes and the solar panel. I decide to go for Mr. X's. His will be more valuable than NC's because of the robot adjacency bonus, because this is providing adjacency to both of these. So these are 75% instead of these, which are 50%. So I'm just trying to make as much power money as I can. There's not much going else right now. I'm buying up my aluminum, or my glass, not my aluminum. Try to get to HQ4.
I hate those filthy bandits.
Mr. X must be selling his aluminum because he is, well, you'll see shortly. Yeah, he starts buying into copper. So, no, he still has this stockpile of aluminum. Maybe it's not as loud for you as it is for me, but it's annoying. So yeah, he gets the majority buy on copper here. Copper could attempt to defend himself, but it looks like he spent money or something. Spent, looked like 12K or so. I don't think it would have mattered, but it maybe would have slowed down Mr. X on the majority buy.
The black market is
I spy out his pleasure dome. I decide to pop it with the network virus.
New building is available for auction.
NcGameWizard decides to power search me. I mean, I understand it because I'm HQ4 along with him, but Mr. X is the one with the sub. However, my tiles are a lot more profitable looking than Mr. X's are, so I can understand it. And here I scrap my nuclear plants to for water pumps, because water. I unfortunately missed the higher water price. I buy the stock in myself, and I see Mr. X looks fairly vulnerable, so so it looks like iron was just high, and yeah, that's right. So NcGameWizard decides to buy a huge amount of iron, and then power surges my iron, but I fortunately had a large stockpile of iron, so that's what this spike was. And so that actually gives me the money I need to go for the majority buy on Mr. X. And it doesn't look like there's a natural power shortage either, or iron shortage either. So I don't know why NcGameWizard tried to do that, because Mr. X is neutral, I think. No, he is consuming a tiny bit of iron, 0.5 iron, and I have more than enough iron. I have 3.25 iron, and I'm only consuming, well, I would be consuming 3 iron with all my steel mills on, but this seems like a weird play to make by NcGameWizard, because he doesn't have a hacker array, so it's not, he isn't like hacking up iron or something and then doing that. I decided to use my own pirates on some aluminum. Free claim. I decided to go for the silicon tile. I figure I'll be able to connect it, so I figure I'll go for the medium now while I wait for the upgrade. I could have earlier gotten the majority buy on Mr. X sooner if I had sold out of my stock, but for safety reasons I decided to keep my stock in myself. Because NcGameWizard did have some amount of cash. He didn't have a huge amount, but he did have some. I go for a patent lab with the idea of going for transparent aluminum to not have to pay for that glass, the high glass. Unfortunately, you see, I just ignore that completely, and I start getting the patent, and then I upgrade anyway instead of waiting for the patent to complete. I can understand it because I get the upgrade sooner, but I also spend more money on the upgrade. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. And then this game doesn't go to Offworlds because it's pretty, I would say pretty close to over at this point. So this patent lab was just kind of useless. Defend myself so I can't get majority bought out. I should be selling this silicon. I decided to go into 4 electrolysis reactors.
No, these are perfectly legal, high-performance diet supplements.
So here's where I get too greedy or too cute. I see that, oh, he's got, I can adrenaline boost network virus these water pumps, but water is going way up because I'm consuming a lot of water. I also decided to go for financial instruments here. I should, honestly at this point, I should just scrap out of this patent lab
The hacker array is finished.
and build
Time to change our passwords.
a water pump.
The black market is online.
Let's slow this down fast. So yeah, here's where I'm building a hacker array because what I want to attempt to do is hack up fuel and buy a bunch of fuel and make these tiles consume a bunch of fuel. All at the same time, so that way he has to buy the expensive fuel. Because if you network virus it, they can't. They have to buy the fuel even if it buys into debt. But unfortunately, water is going up right now and not down. So I decided to go for nuclear engine. I mean,
The hacker array's alignment is chaotic neutral.
I think my idea being so that way I'll use my uranium instead of having to use the expensive fuel,
Time to start
but
improving everything.
I'm trying to get too cute with stuff, I guess, is I could much more easily just short some glass, I think? No, he has glass as well. I could just do a shortage on iron, which, yeah, sure, Mr. X has some iron, but I am producing more iron, so just do a shortage on iron or maybe even steel, and then do it that way, instead of trying to do weird things with adrenaline boosts and network viruses. I noticed that when it's auctioned off like that, I try to do this way too often with adrenaline boosts.
The engineers have advanced on production.
I've also been buying into my 2 subs because they're making me quite a bit of cash, almost 3k a second right now. He does start to buy into me. I do
Price manipulations to begin shortly.
defend myself with a couple more stocks. So yeah, I'm continuously producing this stockpile of fuel.
Not sure how you can buy a magnetic storm.
And then this magnetic storm auction comes up, which is useful for what I want to do. I think he's looking for some holograms or something, I don't exactly know.
Congratulations.
I finally built another water pump. What I could attempt to do, yeah, is I turn off my farms and whatnot to try to crash the water market quicker or faster. And then yeah, I buy up a bunch of fuel, and even with fuel at 340, his tiles are still making money. But I do go ahead and boost them. I continue to buy more fuel. And now his tiles, with fuel at 400 and me having dropped the water price down to 67, his tiles are consuming too much fuel to be profitable. 800 fuel, they're $800 in fuel. And then I also use the magnetic storms that I won from the auction to
Our methods continue to improve.
yeah, the magnetic storms. But again, I don't know if I would call it chickening out, but I do stop my little shenanigan that I was doing because he is producing fuel, which is why I shouldn't have done the fuel hack to begin with, I would say. He's producing quite a bit, in fact. And so I decided to just sell down all the fuel that I had, and then he's just making a bunch of money off of boosted water pumps that I gave him. So, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but I did. It doesn't really matter, I already have 100% on him, essentially, and he doesn't even have 50% on me, so... But it could have been... I got too fancy there at the end, and I notice I do this sometimes, is I just, instead of just going for a buy, or instead of just finishing off an opponent or something, I try to do weird things like this. If I just adrenaline boost my farms, and if I just adrenaline boost all this, that's just making me a bunch of money. And these are goons, so they're safe, and it would have been much simpler and cleaner, I would say, to do that. Or I could have just let the adrenaline boost go and not bid on it at all, because I didn't really need it at that point. But anyway, anything? Yeah, I made a bunch of money off fuel. Let's actually see. So I did make 200k. I don't know how much of that was actually from that hack plus boost, or how much of it was just from the fact I had a stockpile that I wasn't selling. So, yeah. Yeah, I made 7.5k off that patent. The financial instruments, it cost me 12k at most anyway, probably. It wasn't worth it. If there were more players in the game still at that point, sure. I did make 700k off of my subs, which was good. But yeah, I should have just relied on the sub income and not done fancy things with adrenaline boosts and viruses on water pumps. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode of In Retrospect.